All right, welcome back to the Clint and Casey show. I'm Clinton Cole. It's Casey Barley over there. And
It's me.
this is the second episode. Our first episode was more of a little pilot and test, and now we've got some good stuff to talk about. We actually have a plan this time, so that's good. Yes, we have a plan. Purdue coming off a few big wins since we last talked, and the Big Ten. I don't know if you want to say kind of taking shape, but there's a few good teams, but it's Purdue and everyone else at this point, and I'm sure we'll get to that in a second. But Casey, here we are, second show.
Are there any good teams? Like they're taking a shape, but I don't think it's a shape anyone wanted or expected.
No, I mean Rutgers is ranked. They did beat Purdue, so you have to give them. Say they're kind of good, I guess.
Yeah, because pretty much there is one quality bona fide good win in the conference, and it's beating Purdue. Rutgers has it. Yep. I think they are a good team. They are dangerous. They are a program on the rise. Obviously, they just got a new 5-star recruit. And in general, Pikel has done a really good job with that program. They were able to shut down Purdue's offense better than anyone else we've seen this season, pretty much. Weirdly, them in Nebraska, not exactly how I saw things going this year. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely think Purdue is head and shoulders above everyone else. I don't think there's any argument about that. It's interesting at the same time that we discredit close wins. We at the same time believe that that's just how the Big Ten works. But you don't really get full credit apparently for winning anymore.
Right. It's weird.
So yeah, Purdue's, still 3 in the AP poll. Probably going to remain that way for a little while. Houston, like I think you said last week, not going to be challenged in a way where they're going to lose many games. And if they do, it's going to be a trip and fall down, which they've nearly done the last week or two, but you're not going to see major changes at the top the same way. Purdue, number 1 for 4 weeks, didn't look great. Pretty much the nation just waiting for them to lose. But yeah, Purdue has the, 1-game lead now, 2-game lead in the conference. 1-game lead.
They're only 2-1 loss, if I remember.
So Rutgers there at 5-2, Michigan at 4-2. Rutgers and Purdue do not play again.
Until a Big Ten championship game, yes.
Right. Which Purdue always does well at. So looking forward to that. It's definitely, we kind of went through the schedule last week. Purdue just clearly looks like the best team in the Big Ten, so it's hard to imagine them losing 2-3 more. But Rutgers, even though they're good, they are a team that definitely seems fallible. That offense is not consistent enough where night to night you expect it to travel into Michigan State. There's not really anyone on that team that's going to drop 32.
No.
So.
I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about their games coming up here, but going to Michigan, I don't even know if Michigan's going to make the tournament this year. I mean, the game at IU looks like the toughest one coming up next just because it's at IU. But then, yeah, I mean, that they go to Northwestern, they go to Maryland. I mean, I don't know. They go to Michigan and Minnesota next. So, everything else is at home. I mean, Purdue will be favored in every game from here on out, and that's a good thing. I mean, that generally speaking, if you're favored, obviously you're supposed to win. Obviously, home court counts for a couple points here and there, but generally speaking, if you're favored, you should win the ball game. Obviously, upsets happen, but
yeah, Ken Palm has them favored for every game going out. They have a projected record of 27-4, 16-4 in the conference. That would mean 3 more losses.
Yeah,
I have a hard time seeing it. Yeah,
I don't know.
Their least projected win is 59% at Indiana, and
okay, so that one makes sense. But then, what are the other ones?
It's math, Clint. It's advanced metrics. Ohio State comes to town. Obviously, Ohio State's good.
That'll be a tough one, sure. But I mean, you're not going to be favored to lose that game. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to lose.
No. Road at Wisconsin. Wisconsin has struggled, but they do have a pretty high ceiling when they are rolling well.
So those are your 3 losses
up there, right? Yeah, you're painting the story. I mean, Michigan State comes back to Mackey. Would it be shocking that they beat Purdue? those guards are a problem for Purdue.
That's true. We got a visitor.
Hello, Kitty.
All right. Thank you. Come on.
Angry Kitty.
Anyways, yeah, they're a problem. But Lawyer and Smith are going to get better. They're just not they're not that.
How much better can they get? I mean, Fletcher Lawyer
more
was
comfortable,
a hero
more
last night.
More experience is the right word. They're not going to get worse, I'll tell you that. So, with more experience and, being in environments like that, the weird Monday afternoon game. I mean,
right.
Michigan State gave everything they had that game, and Purdue.
I think I heard someone they were asking Painter and how it felt like a March game, like a tournament game, which it kind of did, because how do we determine that, or how are those March games often decided? It's guard play late in the game. It's back and forth. And Fletcher Lawyer, once again, at this point, he's pretty much not answered the bell. And this time he did it off the dribble, splitting double teams, finishing at the rim, making his free throws. Very encouraging sign, because he struggled early. And that's a game where he didn't really have Braden Smith to help him out. And we've seen that Purdue's offense without Braden Smith is generally when it kind of loses some of its steam, just because Smith is such a threat on the pick and roll and such a good playmaker. So very encouraging stuff. And if you're going to get those kind of performances while you have someone as dependable as Zach Edey inside, who said after the game, and a lot of those shots he missed, especially early, I think he had 16 shot attempts in the first half.
Quite a few early.
A lot of them were shots you're used to seeing just fall. So that
right
32,
right at the rim. Yeah.
That 32 without much work becomes 40. And that's wild.
Yep.
What'd you is Izzo just like
I
stubborn, like out thinking himself? How do you go one-on-one?
I don't know. It was I don't understand that. You knew where the ball was going. Mm-hmm. You knew, you've seen it's going to go into him. No, and then after that, whether he decides that he's got the advantage, he's going to take it to the basket, right, or send it back out, which we saw in the game prior. And then we saw the big shot.
Yeah, I don't know if
going to go down to him.
Right.
I don't know if they were worried about. It's so weird, because you worried. We saw last game where they doubled with the guard who came down, and then that left him open up top, which they obviously didn't want to do that, because they just saw that. So I guess that just shows you how big that shot was, because maybe that is in the back of their head, like, hey, they tried this last game, that didn't work. We're going to take our chances. He missed some early. Maybe we'll play tough defense. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, they did start out being real physical with Purdue's guards, and I was wondering. I'm wondering if Izzo thought that his guards would be more effective at denying that entry pass,
possibly,
because we've seen Purdue struggle at that at times. Rutgers is really good at that. That's why they wanted Mackey, because they couldn't get the ball in cleanly. So I wonder if the initial plan was, hey, don't make it easy so he can't get extended one-on-one looks every possession. But 40 minutes later, you got to realize that Lawyer's got this thing figured out. I think Edey said, he's like, yeah, I get like 10 entry passes from Lawyer all of a sudden this game. And Edey was doing this. I don't think I've noticed him do it this year. He would set up on the block, and then as the ball's in the air, he would keep moving backward. And that's when he kind of like get his second push to like clear out even more space. And that's just something you don't see big men do. Edey is a revelation continuously, how he continues to get better even during the season.
How much? I mean, yes, during the season, but then how much better he's gotten in the last couple of seasons. Like, you saw him. I think the very first picture I saw of him this year, I don't know if it was in August or whatever, but he just looked bigger too, and he just he put on muscle and and you're just thinking like, oh man, like this guy, he's gonna put this all together. What's this gonna look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because
preseason, but now like unanimous Wooden Award winner. There's who else is it gonna be? There's no one. And
I think he's minus 200 favorite now to win that, which is insane for halfway through its season.
It's the middle of January. That doesn't happen. I'm trying to think like Zion's year, Frank Kaminsky's year. Those were some like the recent ones that were like, clear
And
winners.
I think people thought that about Drew Timme going into the season.
I think so too.
So
and then went out and beat him.
Yeah.
And then people were like, hold on a second. Wait a second. Yeah. Then he just casually puts up 32 and 20, 30 and
That's
10.
It. It's casual. It is a casual 30.
I didn't realize he had 32 points after the game yesterday. Until I saw some tweet. I was like, oh my gosh.
With the game-winning bucket.
Right.
Big man, like he had a couple post-ups where he's hitting like little half spins and turns and where he's getting set up. 7'4" dudes that are 300 pounds do not move as quickly as he does. It's amazing the way he's able to seal, get location inside, and then turn either way, finish, move. Am I crazy to think that I don't think the NBA can guard him?
I was just going to ask you, how do you think he's doing in the NBA? I think I don't know.
Is 15 minutes off the bench and 10 to 14 points in those small amount of minutes insane? Is it going to look much different than it does in college?
I don't think so. Maybe
they're better athletes, but like not in a way that's tangible enough to.
That's the only thing I'm thinking is you get a guy who's 6'10", 6'11", and more athletic in a wingspan, but like I mean, Zach Edey's not going to go first overall, so no one's expecting him to go out and dominate.
Also, you're still not like, what are you jumping for? You jump, you're going to get sent to the 7th row.
Exactly.
So,
yesterday, I was after the game. I was watching it at work, and just reading all of the tweets from Michigan State fans about how Edey, like there are no fouls, and the hook and hold, and this and that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it was nice being on the other end of it for a change. Right. In the last few years at some point. So I was like, when are we going to get some calls? And finally, Zach Edey doesn't foul anymore.
He took 16 field goal attempts before getting to the free throw line at Michigan State.
You're going to.
There is no way he got 16 shots off without being fouled.
People, Michigan State fans. There's a team that I hate. I mean, so it's obviously IU, but then after that, it's Michigan State all day.
So vibe in the arena wasn't terrible.
Really?
Even walking out wasn't like an angry crowd. Because like I've been now at a lot of IU games, and that is just a hostile, angry place. They are not happy about their lives, their basketball team, what's happening there. They don't see joy; they only see fury. That wasn't the vibe in Michigan State. It was pretty chill. Maybe it's because it was 2:30 in the afternoon on a Monday, or maybe just Bloomington is the worst place. I don't know.
Both places are pretty bad. I've been to one game at the Breslin Center. It was back when AJ Hammonds was there. So
it's cool they have the students surrounding the court. I like that.
That is pretty cool.
So, I mean, props to the Breslin Center. It's nice. Doesn't look like much from the outside. And then
no, it looks terrible from the outside. Yeah. It's like a museum.
Yeah, that old. Honestly. It kind of matches my walls in here.
It does.
The danky little dark, or the light brown yellow.
We have another visitor. No. Coming up, I mean, they've got Minnesota next. I'm just looking at some. We were talking before today. I don't watch anything other than Purdue, really. Unless there's an occasional Big Ten game on. Like I just don't have time right now. I just got married a month ago. Like I don't have time for that right now. I watch Purdue, and that's a lot.
Humble brag.
But I'm just looking at some of these scores, like these Minnesota games. Of course, they lost to Illinois the other day, but I know the final score doesn't tell the whole picture, but they went on the road. They beat Ohio State. They lost by 2 at home to Nebraska, and then they lost by just a couple on the road at Wisconsin. So I mean, I don't know if you're looking at. We're reaching for things here in terms of, is Purdue gonna have a tough time? Obviously, we all know Purdue at Minnesota is always fun, but I don't know. What do you think?
They're not going to pull the upset off of Purdue. They are a rebuilding program from the ground up. Pitino had an interesting team for a few years. Always seemed to be missing a few pieces, never quite coalesced in a way that made sense. And this team is just really lacking some finesse shot making They've got some interesting bigs, but just bereft of all shooting. They do not have shot making. And the reason Michigan State was in that game was an absurd amount of shot making between Hoggart and really just Tyson Walker, just working very hard and making a lot of it's his shots, like pull-up jumpers are his shot, but those are not easy plays. I think he hit 3 step backs on Purdue for 3, most of them in the second half. Minnesota's not going to do that. And I think what we're seeing more than anything else is Zach Edey is it's fun to say National Player of the Year. It's fun to have that conversation. It's cool to say best player. But sometimes the way he's doing it, this like historical way, the way he's so far ahead of everyone else is pretty much saying he's so good that even when Purdue is playing bad, they're in every game. They're probably going to win every game still, because there's not another team in the country that has an easier button to push that they can push so frequently throughout the game.
Yeah.
That it's really going to prevent Purdue having these head-scratching losses, because truly dominant players that don't have an ego, that try that hard, that play that well, that play that much, they're not going to let their team lose. And this team has no give up in it. They play hard, they defend. They've not allowed anyone to score over 70 against them. So you've got a guy in the paint averaging 20, and you're not letting anyone score a bunch of points. So it's going to go in your favor. Yeah.
I think so. Yesterday was the first time in my entire life where there was a game on the line and I wanted the ball to go down low.
Yeah.
Whether it would be the Bulls, Purdue, literally anything else, I've always thought, let the guard do it, let them shoot it, create their own shot. This is the first time ever I've said, get it to Zach.
Right.
I mean,
it's the best play in college basketball.
Yeah.
And it's really not close. So yeah, that's encouraging. Pretty much, I mean, what we've seen is 3 games in the last 3 weeks that it's come down to a final possession. 4. Every time Edey has done something that like LeBron James gets yelled at for all the time, making the right basketball play.
Right.
Every time before Michigan State, the right play was pass it out because he's getting doubled inside.
Right.
This time he got one-on-one. First of all, you can't double when a big dude is making that move that quickly.
Yeah.
So like, So,
and you can't play off of him either, because he'll shoot the ball. They're like, Laurie will shoot it and he'll make it. Or
you can't front him.
You can't drop. You cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot sag on that.
Nope. So yeah, it's how much do games in March? How much do tournament games come down to just can you execute in the final minutes? And that's why we think guard play is so important, because the easiest thing to do, give the ball a guard, isolate or pick and roll, let him make the right play.
Right.
First of all, Braden Smith has been great at that. He made a couple really nice passes into pick and roll late. Fletcher Lawyer has shown that he can make the plays right. But more so, this whole team knows Zach Edey inside, get him the ball. And it works.
It is awesome, Steve. I know that I guess a lot of people were saying how it's only Edey in there. It's the only good player they have and all sorts of stuff. It's just like, yeah, they don't have Jaden Ivey, like, right? Like, it's all the, like, he's flashy. You knew Jaden Ivey was on Purdue and whatever. So that's not Zach Edey, but this supporting cast that they have, it's just, I think their depth is awesome.
Yeah, the bench has struggled lately.
Yes, it has. But they have proven, though, that they can get the job done.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it seems like Painter has 7 guys that he knows he can trust. 7.5. So for sure, the starting 5, they're locked in.
Yep.
And then Mason Gillis, you know what he is.
Right.
Even if he's not playing a ton, even if like, a mistake here or there, whatever, you know, he's going to play hard on defense. He had some really good possessions yesterday. He can shoot. He can make plays. He plays well with every other big man. And then David Jenkins Jr. he's not made the shots I thought he was going to make. You still kind of have to feel that's
a couple
coming.
Good games, but
yeah. Brandon Newman, I like to see that he's been not playing his best, but still getting minutes. He was out there at the end yesterday.
Right.
He's still enough of a threat. He's one-on-one defensively can be really good. That's a good thing to have off the bench. But then it gets, you know, Trey Kaufman-Renn really struggled again. This is about 3 or 4 straight games, pretty much since he had the Florida A&M game where he got to play 20, 25 minutes, put up 20 points. He really has struggled in the Big Ten to find his spots. What is his offense? He seems kind of in that tweener role, not quite big enough to bully centers in the post like he's used to, and not quite athletic. He gets attacked on defense. Just
right out of every time.
That's what happens with freshmen, right? When they get film on you, they know how to attack you. So it's difficult.
I think Caleb First, I mean, he's made some big shots.
Did you believe he took that corner 3?
No. That was awesome.
Quick fire.
That was pretty cool. So there's 9 guys that we mentioned there. 5 starters: Gillis, First, Newman, Renn, Jenkins. I guess that's 10, you know, and that's that second starting 5, so to speak. Like, how many games do they win the Big Ten this year? Seriously, like, I don't know. They'd be better than probably bottom half of the league. Not that you wouldn't have any depth after that, but
right.
Then what would you do? But, like, you know, that starting 5 against some of these other, I don't know. I think Purdue, like, I guess what I like is it's so much more well-rounded than, like, I'm thinking back when Carson Edwards was here. Like, you had no-Joe where, like, you didn't have to guard him until he actually got to the basket. Like, things like that where it's just like there aren't those things on this team anymore, where it's like Painter's done such a good job of, yeah, he had Ivy, but, like, you know, no one thought Ivy was going to be a lottery pick. I mean, we knew he was going to be good. But when he came to Purdue, I don't know, did you think he was going to be a lottery pick? Did you think he was going to be the 3rd pick, 4th pick overall?
I did hear some rumblings that he was, like, for sure NBA talent. I didn't get to watch him much in high school.
Like, he just
after his freshman year, or during his freshman year, it's pretty clear that he had, like, NBA juice.
Once you saw him running up and down the court with the ball, it's like, oh, look, there's John Morant, there's Russell Westbrook.
Right.
Yeah. But
yeah, I think what you're touching on a little bit is just the versatility of this team, and that everyone that comes in is not a liability on one side of the floor or the other.
Nope.
Except for maybe one person right now. But last year, you know, Sasha was a good shooter, good on offense, limited on defense.
That was it.
Isaiah Thompson
did whatever.
5'11" guard.
1 shot a game, right?
Yeah, like Jaden Ivey, not the most focused defender. Fair to say.
I probably wouldn't have been either if I was him.
Sure. Travion Williams, not exactly a rim protector down there.
Oh.
So those are 4 guys that are gone, and they were all severely limited on. A lot of this comes down to Purdue plays defense this season.
Yes.
And that matters. When you have the best rebounder on the floor and you force teams to miss shots, that matters.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a lot of the pitfalls that Purdue teams in the past would kind of, you know, collapse into: lack of athleticism, lack of size, or lack of well-rounded players off the bench. Those don't exist on this roster, and Painter's done a really good job with them, getting them all to buy in. They're all focused. They all take their cues from Zach Edey, like egoless superstar. It's so rare.
I'm looking at the game after this Minnesota game. They're home to Maryland. Like, I don't think I've watched one Maryland game this year, and why would I? I just, was the Big Ten supposed to be this bad this year? I mean, IU and Illinois
no.
Right there, and now they're nowhere to be found. Like, what is? I don't remember a season in the Big Ten where it's been one team and one team only. When was the last time you can remember this?
Well, so normally it's that there's like
two or three,
three teams stuck between 10 and 20 is usually how it is. Don't usually have a breakthrough into the top 10, but every now and again one will jump up there. Purdue was the team last year. Normally, you know, there's an Ohio State or a Michigan State or someone else up at the top. It was supposed to be, for some reason, people thought it was going to be Indiana this year. It's not, clearly. But yeah, so normally there's the big thing with the Big Ten is there's 2 or 3 potential NCAA like winner teams, maybe at least Elite 8. And then there's 10 in the middle, which makes the league strong because there's usually only one bad team, which there is just one bad team this year. But it's 2 through, 14 that are all just maybe top 40, barely. So yeah, Maryland's honestly a little better than people expected. New coach, new program. I think 7 transfers. Like the entire roster has been just an upheaval. They lack a big man, but they have
not a good recipe when you're playing Purdue. Not the best thing to do.
But they have decent skill and length and athleticism all over. So they've had little spurts where they've looked good. They beat Miami, they beat Illinois, started the season off 8-0.
They were ranked.
Yeah. Lost some tough games, played Tennessee really well on a neutral floor. But they don't really have a bad loss. So I wouldn't call them a bad team. They're just they like the
lost by 40 to Michigan.
Not ideal.
No, not good, really.
Not ideal. A little bit of a strange one.
I don't know. It's just like, I just don't remember the last time the Big Ten was just one team that was favored every single game. And because there were still teams like let's say there was a 7th or 8th ranked Michigan State, but guess what? There was a 25th ranked Purdue team where you go to Mackey, you knew that's going to be a tough game.
Purdue last year was favored in, I think, every game on Ken Palm for good stretches of the season. A lot of it is there's not good offense in the Big Ten. And most of those models are based off, offensive efficiency and whatever else. So that just doesn't exist. There's a couple standout freshmen. Sensenberg at Ohio State is great.
He's been the most impressive I've seen.
Yeah, and Pickett's had a great year, but past that, it's Edey and Trace Jackson Davis. There's not, for some reason, the guard play in the Big Ten just doesn't measure up. The top guys, the NBA guys, all those stars are going elsewhere. And you kind of just see that. In the Big Ten, it's a lot about program, which is good. I mean, coaches win more than anything else, but it's just that top end talent isn't there, and it reflects in the polls.
I was curious. Another big name coming this season was Hunter Dickinson. And that
he's the same exact player he was when he came in as a freshman.
Exactly. He's not gotten any better.
There's new hand gestures. That's about it.
That guy's a freak show. But he is averaging 18 and 9. So I mean, he's having a good year. But you don't fear Michigan because of him.
No
chance.
No,
and so it's just a weird year in the Big Ten, in my opinion. I don't know. It's just they're always you go back and there are the Lamar Stevens and players like that at different schools where the Geo Bakers and the Ron Harper Juniors and Nebraska had a few really good players one year. It's just not Minnesota's Amir Coffey, guys like that where it's I just don't see that this year, which is where it's not we go to Rutgers and okay, we lost, but whatever. We had to worry about Ron Harper Jr. and Geo Baker, right? It's not so moving forward. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? It's basketball. They're 18 to 21-year-olds, so anything's going to happen on a given night. But
yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is literally just we still mostly pay attention to breakout performances, and that comes in the sense of
offense.
Offense. And there's just not a ton of that in the Big Ten this year.
And another good thing is, since Purdue is good on defense this year, they can withstand.
It's not happening to Purdue.
No, yeah, exactly.
Generally.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's funny. So some of the things we're going to talk about, we probably should wrap up here pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Who are more on the recruiting side? I know who Miles Colvin is. Other than that, I don't. I did talk. I told you the story. So I was on the sidelines for the Purdue Penn State football game, and Jaden and his wife, are they married now, or
I don't think they're married yet.
So his fiance or girlfriend, whatever, were there with Coach Painter, and then the whole team.
There are limits to where I care to cover.
Yeah, exactly. But they were there, and then the whole basketball team was there. Also, Willie Berg's really tall too.
He is. He moves well for a big dude.
I've seen him working out a little bit.
His hands leave stuff to be desired.
Right. Yeah. Well, he's got time. We'll get to that in a second. But anyways, so they were walking around. Coach Painter was with Jaden, and then Miles was with Rosie. And Miles was in front of me. I said, hey, is that going to be you in a couple of years? You go to the NBA. He just looked at me and goes, yep, I'm next. So I'm like, all right, that's all I need to know. So anyways, we got another lottery pick coming up here pretty soon. But other than that, I don't know much about anything. I don't really get into the recruiting stuff much. But what's going on? This Catchings kid, I saw him a couple times.
Canon Catchings he's one of those guys. I've seen him twice now in person. And he's really hard not to talk about in complete hyperbole, because I say this very sincerely. He moves like a Kevin Durant type.
Oh.
He's came into the year listed 6'6". Everything I've heard, closer to 6'8". Super fluid athlete, super skilled, great touch.
Okay.
Last game I saw him, he put up, what was it, 29 in the first half, 25 or 29 against Kokomo. So Badunga.
Where's he going?
9 of 10 shooting.
Jeez.
Yeah. Badunga, he's going to go probably Cincinnati, maybe Auburn. I don't think he fits at Purdue.
I don't think so either, fortunately. But anyways.
But yeah, Canon Catchings is special. 2024 recruit, nephew of Tamika Catchings. His mom played at Illinois. So the thing you have to like is he's super young. He got better I saw him at the Brownsburg showcase and then saw him about 3 weeks later. Looked more comfortable just 3-4 weeks running the offense a little more. His coach went to him more on the high pick and roll. You can see everything you want in a modern wing in him. He needs to grow out some. He's pretty skinny, but jumps well, moves just effortlessly. Decent handle. He's got like the long arms and the skinny frame, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to dribble into spots that he gets to, but already has like an advanced floater game. Transition, he's a beast, and he can shoot the ball. And to be honest, I think his form can use quite a bit of work, which is encouraging, because I don't love his balance on his shots. It feels like he loses his at the top of his jump shot a lot, but like it goes in, and he is super skilled and athletic. And that's comparing him to Miles Colvin, who is about 6'5", long, more of a power athlete, just launches, like skilled too, has a much more fundamental jump shot, looks a little more secure in his base. But the idea of those two being able to play together for 2 or 3 years, like Purdue hasn't seen a team like that. And just like, by the way, Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, they're doing this as true freshmen. I don't think we're in jeopardy of them leaving early for the NBA.
I don't think so either.
So everyone that comes in for the next 3 years are going to get the boost of playing with Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, who are the exact prototypes of the kind of players that will make athletes, shooters, and basketball players better with them on the court. So these guys are going to have a chance to thrive. And
this is going to be this year is like I don't know what you think, but the fact that Purdue is like I don't know how much stock to put in Houston. I haven't watched them play. They played Tulane tonight. I'm watching. What is this first take or something? And on the sides they have like the odds. Tulane has an 8% chance to win the game tonight. Tulane is 12-5, and it's at Tulane. Like Houston is probably not going to be tested much the rest of the way, right?
Right.
You look at Alabama; they're in the SEC. I mean, they've got Tennessee, but other than that, like what else is I don't know. Arkansas is good, I guess. I don't know.
Tennessee's good.
But then Kansas. Kansas is the other team, which you know, the only other team I watch is Kansas. Kansas is good every year,
but sure.
Every year, thank you. Weird, whatever. They're good every year. But the Big 12 is really, really good this year. So they're what
the Big 10 usually is.
Yes,
they have like 8 teams that are in the top 40.
Right. So they play Kansas State tonight. So we're going to learn a lot. I think what I'm saying is we're going to learn a lot more about Kansas this year than we are probably about Alabama and Houston. But my point is, I think Purdue this year, in terms of winning the national title, they've got as good a chance as anyone in the country. I don't know. They probably did. Did they last year as well? I mean, it's just like, I don't know. But then my point is moving forward.
I mean, the biggest thing last year was it was a good team, but more so that the bracket broke their way as well.
That's
you only have to beat a 15 seed to get into the Elite Eight. Like that doesn't happen. But yeah, I feel better about. They were always going in last season as a team that couldn't defend. And
that was not a secret.
Like it's pretty well known. You have to be top 30 in offense and defense on Ken Palm to win a national title. Purdue qualifies for that this year. Best offense in the country. Defense right around 29th. I haven't looked at it today. Where are they at now? 29th in the country. So like they meet those thresholds. They can defend and they can score. Yes. And they are set up for a 1 seed. Yep. Absolutely. Like teams keep losing. And like we said, 3 more losses on the season would be a shock.
I would be shocked. They'll probably lose once, maybe twice.
Even if they do lose 3 times, counting a tournament loss.
Okay, counting
that Purdue team is still probably a 1 seed. And if you're a 1 seed, that is a better path to the NCAA tournament than Purdue's had. So
I'm not worried about, being the 2 or 3 seed or the 4 seed, like who's the 2 and 3 here? Who's the 1? Oh, we have to go play Duke this year, or we have to play, Kansas is, we won't be in the same bracket as Kansas. So you got to go to Kansas, play Kansas in freaking Kansas City, which is basically a home game for them. Right. We don't have to do that this year. So there are a lot of things that are breaking down for Purdue, as long as they keep on this track, that are going to line them up. But my entire point was, this year, we didn't know coming into the season what Purdue was going to be, right? We didn't know. We had a bunch of kids running around, basically. The next couple of years, we're talking about who's coming back, who's coming in.
Painter's program looks better than it ever has.
The
next 3 years looks great.
Carson Edwards, from Carson and Ryan. I want to say Carson and Ryan. So I mean, Jaden and Travion to now to Zach, and then moving forward, this program is in an incredible position. And it's funny, like in the last few years, seeing people on Twitter calling for Matt Painter to leave or wanting him to go to Tennessee or
we don't talk about those people.
No, it's just like what else could you ask for? Like, I mean, right. This is.
Yeah, he's built a program and he's learned. Like he took over this job pretty damn young, and like he's admitted he made some mistakes, depended a little too much on rankings, what other people said, and now he just goes out and gets his guys. It helps now that all the Purdue legacy kids are better than the last generation. Like they keep getting more athletic and they keep getting more skilled, and you keep adding them all together, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, Camden Heidi off the bench, or not off the bench, but probably redshirting this year. Best dunker Purdue's ever had. Just wild, throwing down 360 between the leg dunks and just casually. And like you're going to add that to Miles Colvin next year on the seat. Like you're adding that on top of everything else. So it's
like you forget about Trey. It's like he's had a few bad games, but like that was a guy that obviously IU wanted so bad.
Yeah.
Like And the thing with IU is they get some of these higher numbered prospects, or for whatever that means, whatever. So like for them to want someone like that, and now these players are picking Purdue. They're picking Purdue now.
Right.
They're not picking IU. They're not leaving. That's Matt Painter and his staff.
Right.
And the facilities and everything at Purdue. And obviously the progress they've made. And from, like I said, from Carson to Jaden, like they see Purdue now. It's not like they're not, they never have been the little brother, in my opinion. I mean, they've got as many Big Ten championships or whatever, but yeah, they don't have any national championships, but like no one's thinking like, we're going to lose this guy to IU. We're going to lose this guy to Michigan State. Going back, think about Bridges and like some of these other guys like that Purdue is in the running for.
Yeah, I think it's a semi-kept secret that a lot of these top guys, the 5-star, 4-stars around here, they're not always Painter's priority target. Mm-mm. And he'll recruit them because he has to. You offer because you have to.
Yeah.
And you go to the gym and watch them because you have to. But if I'm certain of anything now, Painter knows the guys he wants. This roster right now is just every one of his ideal players. And he's learned that over time, learned where to find them, how to find them, and now how to develop them further. And yeah, so that's sustainable. And if anything, it's progressing. So yeah, you're spot on. This as a program builder, Purdue has never looked back. Zach Edey might come back next year.
What is that? How is that even
wild?
Does Purdue go undefeated if Zach Edey? I'm just kidding. I mean, well, honestly, they might end up.
It's not far back. Like if he comes back,
not that crazy.
If he comes back, Purdue might be number 1 all season,
start to finish.
Yeah,
Purdue will be hands down preseason favorite to win the national title.
Yeah, I mean that Maui tournament that Purdue will be in is loaded.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Loaded.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he can learn how to shoot threes next in the summer.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But he's not. I don't know. I didn't even think about him coming back.
Yeah, like it's on the table. It's 100% on the table. So,
what else do you have before we wrap this up? Anything?
No, I think we've gone about 45 minutes. We've been good. Yeah, good little.
I'm looking at this mock draft real quick, seeing where Zach Edey. So think of Vic.
42nd.
Have you seen Victor play that Victor kid?
Yeah.
With Yama?
Oh, yeah.
Gosh. The top 3 guys are supposed to be. But anyways, I don't know. Zach Edey is not even a lottery pick. So why wouldn't he come back?
Is he in the first round?
This is just one. It's Bleacher Report. Very first one I clicked on. No, he's not.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how the season goes.
Right.
Could have a bad taste in his mouth. Could have a really good taste, and he wants more. Who knows?
This doesn't even have drafted.
Well, there you go.
I don't.
You're not going to go in the draft. You probably should come back.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. That's something to talk about later. But like, anyways, I don't know. So Purdue has a couple games coming up. As we talked about, they're going to be favored in both. One home, one on the road. What is Minnesota tomorrow? Or today's Tuesday. So.
Minnesota on Thursday.
And
then we will have Maryland in the building on Sunday afternoon, 1:00 game.
Okay, and then we'll be back. So today's Tuesday. We post these on Wednesday morning. So we'll have 2 more games to talk about next week and look ahead. But
yep,
I don't know. This has been a fun season. Got to keep it going.
Right.
And who knows where we'll be in 2.5 months.
17-1.
17-1. It's pretty.
There's no way not for that to sound pretty.
It's pretty darn good. All right, that's it for the Clint and Casey Show, episode number 2. We'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks.